Welcome back with a smiling face. Links to previous episodes are given in the video description, so don't forget to like, subscribe and share the video. Wolves of Shadowed Fate. Episode 3. Chapter 13 to 19. Chapter 13 Alpha Cole's POV. I didn't think that the news would have affected her so much. Her passing out was upsetting to see, and I ran with her all the way to the Pack Hospital. My family and the Beta family followed me there. I mind-linked the doctor on my way, as I am worried sick about her. She is tall but way too thin. They clearly deprived my daughter while she was in the Silver Blade Pack. She has no muscles and clearly has not had a day of training in her life. I almost put her up to the ceiling going to pick her up and overestimating what she weighed. It is clear that she has suffered a lot, and my fury at Silver Blade rises up again. I will be speaking to Timothy about our next steps soon. We will need to speak to Raven first though, privately with just me, Olivia, Timothy, and Amanda in the room. If she wants to ever tell Stella, or her brothers, what she experienced, she can. But after Joshua spoke up yet again against my daughter, I am really trying to calm my wolf, Flint, down. He wants to take that pup outside right now and teach him a lesson. Olivia is worried sick about Raven and is sitting next to the bed, stroking her free hand that didn't have the 4 in it. I am pacing. I cannot stop, I am anxious about what is wrong with her. When she wakes up, we will send all the kids away, so she can speak freely. I look down at her sleeping form, and my wolf senses that she is his. He is furious at her treatment, and he would like to teach Joshua a lesson as well. She is beautiful. She looks just like her mother, with my hair and eye color. I know that I am partial, but I have never seen a more beautiful child before. I want to avenge her right now, but I know that I need to do things correctly. There are steps to follow, plus, Timothy told me exactly what he said to Graham this morning. Graham will be stressing out waiting for the shoe to drop, and that will cause him a lot of anxiety. That is a good start to what is coming, as I started to make mental notes now that I have seen her and know that she is physically okay. I will never allow them to hurt her again. I told Timothy through the link to step out and take the first step by notifying the Werewolf Council of what has happened. This situation was kind of unique, but the Silver Blade Pack needs to pay for their actions. They crossed me and disobeyed my instructions, which comes with punishment. This wasn't a low-level thing. They hurt my child and kept her from me for over 18 years. I had warned them of the cost of those actions. I stood at the end of her bed so that when she opens her eyes, she will see me first. I want her to know that from now on I have her back and make no mistake about it, her being hurt is going to cause hell to rain down on them. I go to pacing again, and the kids all went to go grab drinks for everyone at the coffee shop in the lobby. I thought it was a great idea to have one here, as it is open 24 hours. With night patrols and injuries happening at all hours of the night, it was just a good idea to do it. I had seen it in a human hospital about 10 years ago and duplicated it here. How did they manage to hide her from me all this time? I worried about Cassandra having my pup for the first 2 years. Flint was positive that she was carrying our pup after we had S*X, but as time went by, I just assumed that my gut feeling was wrong. But I wasn't wrong, Cole, I told you, Flint growled out to me. No, you weren't wrong, Flint. I am so angry I can't even think of what I am going to do to them to get Raven vindicated. I would like to attack them right now and kill as many of her abusers as I can find, but I know I need to keep a clear head in this. I will not lose my pack for attacking without cause, and permission. I linked him back and I can feel his agreement with me. He is out for blood, and that was the reason for our pack name. Our last name was Walker, for the last 4 generations when you pissed the alpha of the pack off, he was truly out for blood. It was simple to me how we ended up with our name over 200 years ago. I am the 6th generation, and I still feel the same way, especially to those who mess with my Luna, or children. It also gave all other packs a heads up that we were not the ones to be trifled with. We don't forgive and forget. We exact revenge and dole out punishment. The door opens quietly, and my son Carter comes in first with my coffee. Austin had a coffee for his mother, and Joshua and Stella stand there silently, as their parents were in the lobby for their dad to call the council, so they had already handed off their coffees to them. The room is silent and all you can hear is the beating of the machine Raven is hooked up to. After a few minutes, Joshua builds up the confidence to walk up to me and say, "I am sorry Alpha Cole. I misjudged her, I will be more careful with my words after this. I just didn't think it could even be possible." Dad was furious with me as well and already spoke to me while we were waiting for the coffee as he was on hold. I was just worried that someone was trying to take Carter's position away from him before he could even take it himself. We have been best friends since we were very young. I won't make the same mistake again. I am sorry Alpha. I looked at him, and I could tell that he was sincere in what he had said to me. He realized that he was over-defensive because he was trying to protect his friend and incoming Alpha. I nodded to him, but I also noticed that Raven's heart rate had gone up from just hearing him speak and knowing that he was in the room with us. She was probably about to wake up soon, and I was not going to let her see him when she did. "I appreciate you telling me that, but your apology is more to Raven than me. I saw the looks you were giving her, you will have to speak to her about your behavior at a later time. She is scared of you right now, I just saw her heart rate numbers increase from her hearing you speak. If you don't mind, I would all of you to go back to the pack house, we will see you for dinner in the dining room at 6 p.m. We will need to speak to her about what she experienced at Silver Blade, and it may be delicate. She might not want to know about it, it is up to her to tell you if she decides to do it. But I need to know what has happened to her over the years, so I know how to proceed here. I will not allow them to hurt her, and then get off scot-free. I can't allow that to happen, I told them." Stella stepped up to the bed and said, "Okay Raven, don't draw this out. You remember that we are going to go out shopping tomorrow. We both need to get stuff, and I want to be with you on your first trip to the mall. So, you need to wake up soon, plus we can do another sleepover, alright? Don't make me worry about you, you are already my best friend and if I need to, I will kick Joshua's *s for you. It will be my pleasure to do it." I heard Olivia laugh at what Stella said, showing Raven that she knows that Stella can give him a run for his money. Joshua gives a huff, and said, "You wish, you can't beat me, Stella." I see both my sons smile at what Stella said to Joshua. They don't believe it either as he is 4 taller than her at 6'3" and a pretty big guy. But I see the expression that she had when she looked over at him, she is sick of his behavior, and she is ready to take him down a peg. That would help out with his inflated opinion of himself. I think that would be a good idea. I also think seeing Stella do that will help encourage Raven to agree to train. She needs to be able to protect herself. She has a strong wolf, but she needs to train her human side as well. What a great idea, Stella. You need to prepare for the fight. I will arrange it, you just let me know when. I think seeing you in action against a large wolf will help Raven realize that she can do it too. Would you be interested in helping train her? I asked her and her immediate smile gave me the answer I needed. I am feeling better and better about this. I see Carter and Joshua staring at me, clearly wondering why I would allow Stella to be beaten up like that. They are both great fighters, but Flint is telling me that he is backing Stella, and I am too. You aren't afraid to fight her, right? I asked Joshua, who immediately bowed up like I knew he would, and looked down at his sister in contempt. He had a smirk on his face as he said, "Just tap out when you have had enough, Stella." That right there is the problem. He has a really inflated ego, and he needs this lesson. It is a life lesson for anyone. Never underestimate your opponent. We teach that day one here. It is a fundamental lesson, and an important one to remember. No matter how big and bad you are, someone may want it more than you and surprise you. I will teach Raven to treat every fight as if they have the upper hand. When you start getting cocky, that is when mistakes are made, because you are not using your all in it. They all head for the door to give us privacy, and I cannot contain my laugh as I heard Stella tell Joshua, "You are an IT, Joshua. 3 days alpha, that is all I need, we can fight in 3 days." She is right, he is, and her timeline is now showing him that she is not scared of him at all. She doesn't need time to train, she has this, and she wants him to know it. I am really looking forward to this fight. It is clear that Joshua clearly needs a wake-up call. He is an IT, but he is pretty big, and I don't want my best friend to get hurt. I heard Raven speak and my eyes flew back over to the bed. I assure you, Raven, we don't want her to be hurt either. Stella is sick of his cocky behavior and is going to help him out by deflating his swelled head. Don't worry, she is an excellent fighter. Stella is going to start training you when you are ready to train. I want you to be able to protect yourself in case you need to. I don't want you defenseless, and you are right now. Your wolf is very strong, I can feel it. So, we just need to get you up to speed, and I know that Stella and my lead female trainer, Lainey, will get you trained in no time. They are both strong fighters, and both are great trainers. I will help to train you as well, and you can learn something different by training with us all. I told her gently. I don't want to scare her, but she needs to be able to learn to defend herself if she ever has to. I can see fear in her eyes. She does not want to train, but knowing that Stella will be right there with her, is making it hard to turn down. I don't know how they got so close, so fast. I can see my daughter loves her and is worried about her. But Stella already loves Raven, I could see it when she showed her willingness to fight for her. I know that this will not be an easy fight. He will not want to lose face in front of the pack. He is the incoming beta, and it would be very embarrassing to lose to his little sister. She will have to work hard to beat him, or at least show him up, which is what I think her point was. He is twice her size, as he is a solid 240, and really very strong. His training has been rigorous his whole life. But Stella is fighting to prove a point, 2 of them actually. The first is to stop picking on women, and he needs to learn that, especially with Raven. The second is that to judge someone on their appearance, or their S**x, and assume that they are weaker than you, is a big mistake to make. I think that after this fight, Joshua will be a lot less cocky, and a lot more humble. I also think that seeing Stella in action will be good for Raven too. Getting stronger and more confident will help her in every aspect of her life. She needs to know that she is strong, and most importantly that she is not alone anymore. She has us now, and we will be keeping her safe from now on. This leads me to my next comment. Raven, I sent them away because I need to talk to you about Silver Blade, and what you had to deal with there. I want you to know that you are not alone anymore. I am here to protect and defend you, and I will, with my life. I have been watching them for years waiting to see even a glimpse that you were there. We never saw anything, and no one would tell us anything about the Sullivan twins. I only saw Reagan and knew she wasn't mine. That was why they kept you on the pack land your whole life. They knew we were watching to be able to take back my pup. We already love you. Flint and I will not allow them to get away with what they have done to you. I know them, they are both weak, and I already know that they took it all out on you. They would be too scared to move against me, and they couldn't take it out on each other, or it would mar the perfect image that they are so worried about. So, I already know that they mistreated you. We can wait for Timothy and Amanda to return to the room, or you can just tell us if you are comfortable with it. I know that something happened at the border this morning, that is why you ran here to get away. Timothy was too scared to tell me what it was for fear of me losing my temper. But if you are up to it, I would like you to tell me whatever you are willing to share, I told Raven, and I see a tear run down the side of her face at my words. Thankfully, the door opened, and Timothy and Amanda entered the room. I saw Amanda move to the other side of the bed and start stroking Raven's hair the moment she realized that she was crying. I am very thankful for my beta couple. They took such good care of her, making her a part of their family as well. I believe that the goddess had her hand in this too. Because she had really only been here for 12 hours, and she already has a best friend in Stella. Amanda tried to lighten the emotions in the room by saying, Stella told me that she had volunteered to teach her brother a needed lesson. His head was getting so big, I was thinking that I was going to have to get a wider door installed for him to be able to get into his room soon. Raven immediately laughed a real laugh, and it was music to my ears. She is comfortable here, and she will learn to love it here with us. I see her sit up straighter in the bed, and Timothy knew she was going to speak and went to stand at the door, so no one could come in here. We are in the Alpha Wing, so no one is allowed to hang outside the door. I sat at the end of the bed and listened to the worst story that I have ever heard. They were shameless in their treatment of my daughter. I felt Olivia take my hand in hers, and that was when I realized that I had bent the metal bar on the side of the bed in my anger. Flint wanted their heads when he found out that Reagan tried to kill her. I thought that was the worst of it, but I was wrong. Wait, that happened 4 years ago though, right? So, what happened last night? What was so bad that you were willing to face certain death coming to our pack to get away? I asked her, and I watched Amanda and Timothy stiffen up. This is going to be bad. Olivia seems to be more informed than me and stood up and motioned to her chair for me to sit in. She is preparing me for something that is going to make me really angry, and I wonder what it could possibly be to top attempted murder. I sat down and Olivia sits in my lap and puts her arms around my neck. She gives me a quick kiss on her mark, and I let out all the air in my lungs. They are worried, so I told them, I am calm, just tell me. I can take it. My daughter's soft voice fills the room as Timothy stands at the end of her bed nodding at her that she is doing well and encouraging her, as she tells her story. I watch as Amanda continues to stroke her hair to comfort her as Raven tells us what happened. Even with tears running down her face at what Raven was saying, Amanda continued to provide comfort to her. Pausing several times in her story, Raven manages to get to the end of it. We were all moved to tears at her losing everything last night. Those bastards, I want to kill all 4 of them. They took everything from her, and still wanted to lure her back to keep me from finding out what they had done. Willing to kill her to keep me from getting retaliation for what they did to my pup. As emotional as her story was, I know that Raven tried to spare us, and downplayed a lot. I saw Timothy glance over at me, and I would be getting with him soon, as I still want to have that talk with Joshua and Carter. I could tell that Carter was nervous now, as he realized that she was my firstborn, and he didn't want her mate to take over our pack. I don't think that she is interested in it at all. She just wants someone to love and protect her. I will do that for her now, along with her brothers, until she finds her second chance mate. I decide to just go ahead and ask her. I want to clear the air, and be able to let Carter stop worrying about losing the pack. Otherwise, it will take him a lot longer to accept her as his sister here in the pack. Chapter 14 Alpha Graham Sullivan. I feel better this morning when I get up. I am calmer and can see things clearer. There are always ways around any obstacle. I heard around noon that Alpha Cole had come back from his vacation with his family, a little early, but that didn't mean anything either. I mean, she does have his eyes, but her grandfather has black hair too. It is how we have explained it to the pack since she was born. It was easier for us to convince him to dye his hair black, to help cover for us, than for the actual truth to come out. It would reflect badly on him, and his small pack. They lived about 100 miles away from here, and we didn't see them very much, but we had pictures made, and one of them hung in the main entry. It showed everyone where she got her dark hair from. I felt that we had really left no room for mistakes here. I was pretty smart, and I had covered all of the bases, or so I thought. There was one huge glaring problem that I could never explain to the pack in a way that could be believed. The complete and empty gap between the Bloodwalker pack and Silver Blade. Cole had gone all the way around his pack, making sure that anyone who tried to enter would have to climb that giant stone wall. He even had men make the outside wall completely smooth, with no handholds, or footholds, for anyone to climb it. The almost 2,000 feet expanse that runs between our packs was always glaringly obvious. He left it open for his pup to get back to him. I made sure that I told everyone how vicious they were, and then put that 6-foot wire fence up, with a 2-foot high roll of barbed wire on top to get it up to 8 feet high. It was designed to slice and cut anyone who attempted to cross it. It made my pack feel better, as they were nervous about what I had told them about the Bloodwalkers. They were strong warriors and dealt with anyone who crossed them with ruthless precision. Most accepted it, but some could tell that my lame explanation of Cole and I being friends and he left it there for me to be able to come and visit, was not accurate. So we told the pack we had a falling out and to avoid the area at all costs. Cole didn't knee-jerk. I already know that he is making very detailed plans to punish us. I had a friend who did the paperwork for the Werewolf Council, and she told me that they had received a call starting the investigation for the Bloodwalkers. He had accused us of keeping his child away from him. He won't just rush over here. He didn't even for Cassandra. He came the next day, calmly, and we handled the rejection with no problems between us. He is a smart man, but I know that it is coming, especially if she tells him the whole story. He may not ask for approval if he gets mad enough, he may just jump right into it, and kill me and Cassandra. If he knows that Reagan tried to kill Raven, he will most likely kill her too. Oh, and Justin as well, he will be pissed at him for deciding to take a chosen mate, just for him to become alpha. That is going to give him a flashback to what Cassandra, and I, did to him, and he is gonna be furious about it. Things were as bad as they possibly could be, and to say that I am not stressed about it would be a lie. I heard a knock on my door and allowed them to enter. Good, we need to have a family meeting. I had linked them to be here, as we need to get things in place quickly. The council will be coming. I still remember when we didn't need one. But people got out of hand attacking other packs, all to get more and more land and create huge packs. They did that through force and intimidation, and sometimes by killing the ranked wolves off, just to keep the women and children in line. We went through a period of ruthlessness and the council was created to make sure that the laws were upheld. A war could only be fought if the pack in question had gone too far in their actions. Thanks to Reagan's little stunt, we spoiled her too much. I should have never told her the secret. I am still surprised that she didn't tell Raven about it whenever she got angry, which happened a lot. I know the only reason that she didn't was that she knew how badly Raven wanted to know why I treated her like I did. I felt a little bad about it. My wolf blamed me, and Cassandra for the whole thing. He wouldn't allow me to physically hurt her, so I made sure the pack knew that they could. That she was not fully accepted in this pack. He never wanted Cassandra, he wanted our true mate. But she was not good enough for me. She was a warrior, and a pretty strong one. She was pretty nice too, she adored me, and that always made me happy, but she wasn't attractive enough for me. I needed a woman who, when I entered the room, all the men noticed her. I wanted them to be jealous of me for having her as my mate, and I found that in Cassandra. She made the deal, and she was happy with it. I have given her everything that she ever asked of me, other than another pup. I never told her once I knew who her mate was. She had actually made a bad deal. I knew that Cole had just overextended that month. He actually had plenty of money. Him telling her she had to wait for the things that she wanted, was only for a month or two. He was doing construction on his pack house. It was more than doubling in size, with 2 wings being added to the original pack house. Each wing was roughly about 70% the size of the original structure. I knew myself with construction extra and unexpected things always popping up. It is expensive to build onto your property an existing pack house. He had more money than me, which I found funny after the fact. He made good trades on the market and had several businesses that are flourishing to this day. They are stronger than us in every way, and now they are pissed off. We just need to get what we can sorted out before the council arrives. If I had only asked who her mate was, none of this would have even happened. If I was just happy enough with my true mate, it wouldn't have happened. But looking at my chosen mate standing in front of my desk right now, I know in my heart that I still would have done the same thing. I would have made the choice to take her as my chosen. I would have just gotten there first before Cole had found her and marked her before he knew she was his mate. Then she would never have slept with him, and Raven wouldn't have existed, which would have been perfect. Our daughter stands next to her and is almost as beautiful as her mother. The frown on her face is the only thing detracting from her beauty. If I had found Cassandra first, I would still have had Regan, but not have had to deal with all the stress that Raven brought with her, which would have made my life easier. But we can't go back and change things now. It is done, and it is all a mess now. Raven was always complaining about one thing or another. She was always wanting to leave the pack land, go to the library, or want a car to get around in, just like Regan got to do. I was not buying a second car. Regan's vehicle had cost me enough, and I didn't want to. Plus, I knew that whenever Regan took over the pack, the first thing that she would do after the ceremony would probably be to have a warrior kill Raven. She has wanted to since Raven managed to escape death the last time. That was some cause for concern, as the business of Regan being the next Luna had been settled. I didn't want my princess to become a murderer. That is why I didn't let her train. I didn't want her hurt. She is important to me. I am always going to protect her until it is time for Justin to take over taking care of her after they are fully mated. That was why I selected him. There were several reasons, but primarily because he was a good and honest man. A man of his word, and I knew he would abide by the contract. That is why I was so glad that I was paying attention. I could see that Raven was drawn to him. It wasn't a crush, he was noticing her too. I knew what was about to happen, and I couldn't allow it after we had decided that he would be a strong mate for Regan. So, I made sure that I sent him off to a training camp the month before the girl's birthday. It was a little over 3.5 months for the training, and I needed him to be away from here. If he found Raven first, he might have marked her before being able to stop his wolf. She was a pretty she-wolf, and sometimes when our wolves take over it can get ugly. I refused to take that chance, so when I sensed my mate, I took some wolfsbane so I would not have to listen to Tyuko complain about me not accepting her. It had to be done, and he wouldn't have allowed me to do it. That was why I was so surprised at Reagan being able to get it done this morning. He did listen to her, and that was a good thing. Tyuko was really pissed at me for rejecting my mate, but he was still fine with sleeping with Cassandra, and her wolf Vera. He wanted pups, and he had a pup. He wanted more, but I guess maybe after I so coldly rejected my mate, that could be the reason for us not having any more pups. The goddess was angry with what I had done, and probably at Cassandra too, and she kept us from having any more children. I continued to sign my paperwork and work, and Cassandra and Reagan continued to stand there in front of my desk. I finally threw my pen on the desk and said, "What? What do you two need? I let you both come in here, and yet you both stand there glaring at me. I don't even know why you are mad. Do you think that I am some kind of a mind reader? Say what you need to say, I need to get this paperwork done. Cole already has the ball rolling, and things are going to get ugly here very soon. Dad, Justin is ignoring me. He is completely avoiding me. I can't find him anywhere on the pack land. He won't answer the mind link, or when I text and call him. I have no idea where he is. What if he left and went to find Raven? Dad, I had full control over him last night, right up until Raven fell out of the tree. After that, he seemed different, Dad. I know that when we were threatening Raven last night I heard him yelling at her to come back. He told me that he had changed his mind and decided that he wanted her. What are we going to do, Dad? Reagan asked me. Well, I didn't expect this. He only agreed to the contract because he was scared that Raven was his mate, and now he is okay with it. I have to say that is a twist I didn't see coming. I guess I am going to have to deal with this in a different way then, and mind-linked my beta, Randolph, to my office. I will have to show him the contract. I know that Justin was not going to come because Reagan told him to. I also know that if his family was having difficulty, he was going to come back to help them, even if he didn't want to. He is a conscientious young man, but he didn't read the full contract. Most people don't, and that is why so many sign on the line, only to find out later that what they thought they were signing, and what they signed, are two completely different things. I will deal with it, Reagan. He will come back, I assure you that he will be here no later than 6 p.m. tonight. You need to get something that will help override his resistance and make it easier for this to go our way. We can't wait any longer. The council is coming, he needs to mark you tonight. So, make him something to drink. Do not act like you want S**X. Just stay calm, and apologetic, and be ready to sleep with him when the drug kicks in. You need to have him mark you when his passion is at its highest. He will be less aware of what he is doing and mark you in the heat of the moment. Just dose him and wait for it to take effect. After you are done, be sure that you mark him in return. That is the only way out of this for us. It will be too late for it to be overturned if you are both marked and mated. There will be nothing that he can do about it, and the Werewolf Council will have to let it go too. If you are not marked and mated, he can get this contract thrown out. The council will feel like it is manipulation and could be considered duress. They don't like it and will move to get it nulled and voided. In order to keep him as your chosen, you need to get this done quickly. No matter where he is hiding, I will make sure that he is back here by 6 tonight. Be ready to go, Reagan. If this doesn't work, you will have to find another mate, I told her. I see the pout before she speaks. I don't want another mate. I want him. I don't care if he doesn't want me anymore. It will hurt Raven because I got her mate. That is all that matters to me now. He is hot and pretty good in bed. I want him, I don't want another. I will go get the items I need to get this done. Thanks, Dad, Regan tells me and bends down to kiss my cheek before leaving my office with her mom right behind her. I swear, they better hope nothing happens to me. They will not survive without me. I think for all three of us. That was the only good thing about Raven. She could figure things out, she was pretty smart. Probably because of all the books she read, I think to myself as I wait for Randolph to arrive. I bet he is dragging his feet, as he wanted his son to wait for his mate. If Justin told him what was going on, Randolph won't help us out with it. After another 10 minutes of waiting, Randolph finally arrived. He was sweaty, so he had obviously led the training for the pack. I don't force the pack to train, no one had thought about attacking us in a long while. We didn't have a lot of good warriors, but Randolph was a good beta, and he had another son, Damon, that was 18, a year younger than Justin, and could take up the beta position whenever Randolph wanted to retire. You needed me, Alpha? Randolph asked me as he tried to catch his breath. I bet he ran all the way here. He is a good beta. Have you seen Justin today? His mate is worried about him, I told him. Would that be Regan, or Raven, that you are speaking about, Alpha? Randolph asked me. Okay, he knows, and he isn't happy. Well, I guess I will do this with the gloves off then. Obviously, I am speaking about Regan, his chosen mate. Raven is no longer a part of this pack. I told him as I set a copy of the contract Justin had signed onto my desk. I slid over it to him and said, in an effort to not waste time, and because you have always been a trustworthy beta, you only need to read page 3. That is where the clause is hidden. I sit back and watch until he gets to the good part, about 65% of the way down on the page. I watch as his face pales, and his breath hitches. I always hedge my bets. If I get caused a problem, I will, in turn, cause you a bigger problem. Petty, but effective. Justin is young and he will be learning a life lesson from this. Always read the full contract before signing it. I sent it with Regan for him to check out before he came to my office to sign it, knowing full well that he was horny and wanted S**X. He wasn't going to read it and would trust me to do the right thing, as he would have been tired from sleeping with Regan. You are going to call him, Randolph. I don't care what you tell him, the truth is fine. But he needs to be back here tonight. No later than 6 p.m. Regan wants to have dinner with him and just talk. We can talk this out like rational adults, but he has to return here to do it. You are dismissed. I told Randolph, who is now looking at me like he never knew me at all. He has seen this happening to Raven countless times. I guess it is different when it is happening to you instead of to someone else. I was going to do the right thing, for my family. Not his. If Justin doesn't go along with the contract, that was his choice, but his family was going to be the ones suffering for it. I would banish his parents and brother from the pack, as well as Justin. Their family had been in the pack for generations. They wouldn't really have anywhere to go, as I will make sure any pack in a 200-mile radius would know how they were reneging on a contract and probably add a few other things in to guarantee that no one would take them in. I know how to work this spin, they would be outcasts themselves. This isn't my first go-around. I will do whatever I need to get the desired result. I will stay as alpha for 2 years until they have at least 2 pups, then I will hand the reins over to them. They still had a lot to learn before they can run this pack. Once they have established their family, it will be even harder for him to leave Reagan. He will know after today that his family would be in danger if he ever tried to leave here again. Escape is futile. He wanted to be the next alpha of the Silver Blade Pack, and I am just making it possible for him to achieve his dreams. Chapter 15 Alpha Cole's POV. Raven was discharged from the hospital at 6 p.m. I was glad to hear it as we had just gotten done with our meeting. Olivia, Amanda, and Stella had stayed at the hospital with Raven. Timothy and I needed to deal with the problem children, Carter and Joshua, head-on in my office. It was the best place for it as I needed them to give us both the respect we deserve, no matter how much they think that they are ready to run this pack. Today showed me that they went immediately on defense, to protect something that was never in question, or threatened. I had spoken with Raven in the hospital. She doesn't want anything to do with the Alpha or Luna position here at Bloodwalker. She didn't want it at Silver Blade either. She just wanted her mate. It upset her that I asked. It upset me too. The fact that she never cared about getting the pack was the worst part of it. Reagan almost killed her over something that Raven didn't even want. Reagan has done enough damage to Raven, and I wasn't going to let her hurt my daughter again. Timothy started off the meeting and pointed out all of Joshua's mistakes that he made, including the fact that he asked Joshua who told him that Raven stated that she was my daughter. From the color on his face, it was him, making up lies, to try to get people against Raven. That made me pretty mad. It made Carter mad too because they were best friends and he believed what Joshua had said completely. It was the whole reason that he didn't treat her well when we met in the Beta's suite. He was cold and unwelcoming to her, and I didn't know why. Then I remember what Joshua had said in the SUV on the way back now. Joshua said that so they could gang up on her and drive her out of the pack as quickly as they could. Timothy was furious at what had happened and straightened them both out. I was glad that he did it. I was so angry I could have hurt one, or both, of them. After determining that she is indeed my daughter and his half-sister, plus the fact that she didn't want to take the pack from him. Carter wanted to see her and apologize to her for all that happened. He didn't have a problem with her. He was just scared to death that her whole purpose here was just to come and take the pack out from under him. That was all Joshua's instigation. Once I had calmed down, we had a lengthy talk about lying to your ranked members, which then went into his agenda against Raven. He apologized, and he really seemed like he was sorry about it, but only time will tell. I cannot trust him around Raven. I will have to have Stella, Amanda, Olivia, Austin, Timothy, or me with her until I can see that Carter and Joshua are serious about leaving her alone. I will not warn either of them again. If they do anything else to undermine or hurt Raven, it will cost them dearly. They will not get a heads up. This was it. If I needed to stay in my position for several more years for me to try to talk Austin into taking over the pack, I will. They might get another chance, 5 years from now, but they will have to work really hard for it if they mess this up one more time. Even though they both had heard the story, it seemed like this time, it sank into both of my sons that Raven was my child that was kept hidden from me. That I loved her as much as I love them. I prayed to the goddess that this will work out the way it should. Austin has never wanted to be the alpha, and it is all that Carter has ever wanted. Not for glory, or money, but because he cares for our pack members. He cares for their safety and well-being, and until today I had never had any doubts about Carter, or Joshua. He trained and helped others train, to be the best that they can be. He learned his beta duties and would be an excellent beta, we will just have to see now. We dismissed them and spoke together for a short time. I know that Timothy wanted to tell me a few things, and I was waiting until he got through warring with himself to decide if he wanted to tell me. Cole, we have been friends for a really long time. I am struggling because Raven was not aware of how long we were there this morning. To be honest, we had 2 warriors out on their run when Raven first crossed onto our land. They heard the whole thing. You can speak with Davis and Perkins about it, as they were the first ones there. They both linked me and basically said the same thing. It took us 5 minutes to get to them from the first link. I heard a lot of what was said, Cole. I think Raven was worried to tell you the whole story. She told you about 80% of it, but she omitted that she caught them, her mate and sister, having sex. That is how she found out. The pain of them having sex the second time was what ended up causing her to pass out and fall from the tree. Timothy tells me and looks down at the floor for a second before continuing. She also was yelling about the fact that Justin, her mate, said that he always thought Reagan was pretty and wanted her, and that he ended up with the better sister. I am seeing red, but I can tell that he wasn't finished yet, and I am trying to keep Flint from running over to Silver Blade to kill Graham right now. Timothy speaks again. The most important part is that we have to keep her safe until we deal with Silver Blade. The Alpha, Luna, and her sister Reagan all threatened to kill Raven when she refused to return to Silver Blade with them. I will tell you now, Cole, if she had gone back over there with them this morning, she would not have made it far. I could feel the hate and anger coming off of them. They wanted her dead. It would have been better for them, safer for them, to have made sure she never left their land. That was when I came out and asked Alpha Graham to come on over to Bloodwalker land. I told him that I would deal with him personally. I also told them that Raven would be protected here at Bloodwalker. I was angry at what they had done and said to her. I wanted them to know that I knew who she was and that payback was coming for what they have done. I just wanted you to know, because Graham is going to be grasping at straws here soon, and he will try to twist it to his agenda when the council arrives. He will look for anything to try to get him out of trouble, or to try to distract them. Timothy, I am fine with what you told them. I am glad you could tell she was my daughter. I think that the added stress might make him make a mistake, and then we will have him. I am really struggling right now, as I would love to kill Graham and Cassandra. But I also know that the council needs to investigate it first. I will do it the right way unless Graham manages to try to weasel his way out of this too. He is very good at being underhanded and deceitful. Let's head down to the dining room. Olivia is here with Raven and we can all have dinner together tonight, I told him, and we headed down to the lobby. We step out of the elevator to see the kids all in a group together, and the lines were clearly drawn. Carter and Joshua on one side, and Raven, Stella, and Austin on the other. Amanda and Olivia stood there watching it play out. T-Hay will have to find a way to cooperate and get along with each other. We see Stella eyeballing Joshua, his ears were red, and he looked embarrassed. Look, if you meant it fine, but if you are just trying to get on my good side by doing the right thing now and apologizing, give it up. I won't stop the fight. It is going to happen. You won't be getting out of it, you need this for your own good. You have gotten way too cocky, and I guess if no one else will stop you, I will. Stella tells him, and she is mad. I think she is the best friend that Raven could have, because it is like they are two pieces of a puzzle, they fit together well. I arched my eyebrow, and Joshua tells us, I apologized to Raven. I was wrong and assumed things that I had no proof of. I am truly sorry for doing it. I was just worried that you had come to take Bloodwalker away from Carter, and I should have stayed out of it. I will remember this in the future, not to judge based on my emotions, to judge based on evidence and proof. It won't happen again. Please forgive me, Raven, I was wrong, and I am sorry for giving you attitude. Carter adds, I am sorry too. I deliberately held back because I let fear of losing what I thought was my birthright blind me. I have spent my whole life wanting to be the next alpha. I have worked and trained for it, and I thought that you had come here to swoop in and take it from me. I let others' opinions cloud my judgment, and that was wrong too. I hope we can start over again, as brother and sister, and leave this behind us. I won't make the mistake of forgetting that you are my blood again. To prove to you how serious I am about it, we will do the ultimate sacrifice and go to the mall with you tomorrow to make sure you and Stella are safe. That is actually a big sacrifice for him, Raven. They hate to shop. We still do it for them, unless they need a new tuxedo or suit and need to be measured. They both hate going to the mall, Amanda said, and I can see Stella's mouth shift as she tries not to laugh. I don't have a problem with you or Joshua. I know why you did it. Reagan did the same thing, thinking I was after her spot as Luna too. I will tell you like I told her. All I want is someone to love me, for me. I wanted a mate, not a position. I lost my mate because he wanted my sister to get a higher position. I just want to be able to go where I want to in the pack, safely, without judgment. You don't have to go to the mall tomorrow though. I will never force someone to prove something to me by forcing them to do something that they don't want to do. We are fine. I am happy to have two brothers now. I am glad to not have Reagan as a relative anymore. That is the best thing to come out of this whole incident, Raven told them, and they both sighed in relief that she was not upset with them. I still want to go with you, Raven. I don't want anything to happen to you when we just found you. We are fine with going. What time are we leaving, Mom? Carter looked over at Olivia. We leave at 10 in the morning, Olivia said as we head into the dining room to eat. I was glad to see all the kids on one end of the table and some good-natured sarcasm flying around between them as they ate. It made dinner go smoothly and Stella was so excited to have her for another sleepover again. I can see that Amanda and Olivia are mind-linking each other, and after a little while Olivia reaches over to take my hand. She is upset and I squeeze her hand to let her know that I am here with her. Are you okay? I ask her. I am fine, we can talk when we go up to our room tonight. I need to talk to you so you can add it to all the other mistreatment that Raven had received. I swear, Cole, I am ready to go over and pull that witch's hair out for how she did her own daughter. She is her own flesh and blood. Just because she was from her true mate that she rejected, is no reason for her to mistreat her so much, Olivia tells me, and that gives me pause. My mate is the calmest, sweetest woman that I know. For her to want to go and tune someone up, she is pissed. I close my eyes as I realize that I am going to have to brace myself for more news that I don't want. I will have to hear it, as when the council comes, they will need to know all the charges that I am levying against Silver Blade. I really only want two things. For Graham and Cassandra get in trouble for keeping my pup from me and abusing her. For Raven's last name to be formally changed to Walker, she is my daughter, and I want everyone to know that. Olivia then smiles at me and speaks louder for the whole table to hear her. Amanda and I were talking. We were thinking that in 3 weeks' time, we should have a celebration here at the Blood Walker Pack. It has been a long time since we have had a party, and the banquet hall is almost complete. I think that it would be nice to introduce Raven to our friends, families, and allied packs as your daughter. Plus, that will give her time to see if she has a second chance mate. It worked for your father and me, Raven. If nothing else, you might make some new friends. I wanted to get the girls' dresses tomorrow. Since the boys are coming with us tomorrow, we can get new tuxedos ordered for them as well. I think that you are not only beautiful, but you two ladies are the smartest women in the pack. I am also going, as this is Raven's first outing, and I want to make sure she feels as safe as possible, I tell them, and I see Raven flinch for the second time. I stop talking to see what is happening, and she is leaning forward, barely breathing, with her breath starts coming in pants. She is in a great deal of pain, and before I can even get out of my chair to pick her up, she passes out. I grabbed her and run back to the hospital again. This is like déjà vu, we just did this earlier today. She did not receive a shock, at least the offer of a party didn't seem like a shock. I linked them ahead of time again, and she is immediately taken back to the Alpha section of the hospital. She is out cold, and they started asking us questions to try to figure out what had happened. Thankfully, Stella spoke up. Raven started sweating, and she was holding her stomach. Then she was panting like she couldn't catch her breath. She was in a great deal of pain. But she didn't complain, she just dug her nails into her hands as she held her stomach. Upper or lower stomach? The doctor asked. Lower, it really seemed like she was hurting bad, Stella replied to the doctor. The doctor frowned and then said, "Does she have a mate? Do any of you know? Is it possible that he could be cheating on her? That would explain the pain and a good reason why she would be clenching her lower stomach. That is it, I am going to Silver Blade, and we are going to have a little talk," I growled out and left the room with Timothy, Carter, Austin, and Joshua right behind me. I am done with getting along. They have hurt her at every turn, and they will just not stop unless I stop them. Well, so be it. If this is what they really want, who am I to keep them from getting exactly what they want? Chapter 16 Alphagram at 558. Justin entered the pack house, just as I knew he would. He has no one to blame but himself, no one put a gun to his head to get him to agree with this plan. I greeted him with a smile and went to clap him on the shoulder in greeting, and he sidestepped to avoid me. That made my smile even bigger. I enjoy it more when my prey gives me a fight. There is no way in the world that he can get free of this, he is on the hook, and no matter how hard he fights, he is already caught. He and Reagan will be the next alpha couple of the Silver Blade pack. I watched him as we sit down for dinner and Reagan pours him a glass of wine. All of our glasses were poured from a separate bottle that was next to me. The one next to Reagan had been treated. He only need one glass to dose him, but I told her to try to get two in him. We need his wolf to go along with this, and one glass might not be enough to get him to agree to finish this. We need his wolf to participate, as there is no other way for Reagan to receive his mate mark. She put a double dose in the bottle too. I think she is planning on taking it with them upstairs. I had spoken to her again and told her that it would be best for her to get pregnant as quickly as possible. That will be the final nail in his coffin. There will be no coming back from it. We all engage in small talk as we eat and sip our wine, everyone is relaxed, and Reagan even dressed up for dinner tonight and was dressed more conservatively than she normally is. While Justin eats, Reagan is smoothly topping off his drink, over and over again. He doesn't even notice that he is about to finish his third glass. We can all tell the difference in him soon. He started to sweat like he was getting really hot, and then he started looking over at Reagan a lot. His interest in her is back again, and Reagan asked him in a soft voice, "Would you like to come up to my room to watch a movie with me?" Justin nodded to her and got up quickly from the table to follow her up to our floor. I was glad that Reagan was smart enough to take their glasses and the treated bottle of wine. She should be able to keep this going for at least an hour. Hopefully, this night will result in a pup being created. Cassandra is looking at me thoughtfully. I have no idea what she is thinking about until she said, "Graham, have you ever thought about the reason that we could get pregnant was that the goddess was punishing us? What if she punishes Regan for what she has done? She might not be able to bear a pup either. She rejected her true mate, the warrior she met after she phased, she tricked Justin, and she almost killed Raven. She has done a lot of wrongs. I can't see her getting blessed for her actions. I have put some thought into that very thing, but about us. I never thought about the consequences for Regan. We may get Justin as Regan's chosen mate. But Cassandra is right, the goddess will never bless this union. There was too much pain caused by their actions, she will reject them as mates, and they will not be able to bear the pups that they need to take over this pack. This is bringing up so many bad memories for me, the years, and years of frustration as we kept trying to get pregnant again. All the tests that were run on us to see if there was a problem. I can't dwell on it. This is done, and this step had to be done. They will complete their bond tonight and mark each. It needed to be done, and I am glad that it will be over with. They will be mates, and he will be staying with Regan. The council will not be able to do anything against them, or us, once they get here. We stayed downstairs as our room is next to hers, and at 8 p.m. I get a mind link from the gate. It appears that Alpha Cole has arrived and wants to speak with me. Why do I have to keep dealing with issues popping up? Cassandra and my beta come with me as we head to the gate. I have no idea what is going on this time, but I need to remind him that the council will be dealing with this. He needs to stay on his land, and not come here. I smirk at that. I can't wait to tell him that too. I see he isn't alone when we park and get out of the car and walk to the gate. I motion the guards off because I don't need for them to hear something that is none of their business. When we are alone, I can't resist it and told Cole, "Look, stop coming here, Cole, let the council investigate, and you stay in your pack. Do not return to Silver Blade whenever you get mad at me. We have nothing to say to each other." "What did you do, Graham?" "My daughter is in the hospital. If something happens to her, I will hunt you down and tear pieces of you off your body until you bleed to death. They won't find enough of you to take me to trial," Cole tells me in a very calm voice. "What do you mean? How did she pass out? Why did she pass out?" I stuttered out in real fear. Raven was strong. The only time she passed out here was the bridge incident, and then when she fell out of the tree this morning. Regan told me that she had told Justin to reject Raven when Raven woke up. Didn't he do it? Are Justin and Raven still bound? I believe what Cole was saying, and I also believe that if he doesn't make good on it, then one of the other four with him would. Why wouldn't Regan tell me that they didn't reject each other? That was why she was so nervous. Justin was still bound to Raven and wanted her. He really didn't want to give her up. Raven was weak from their sleeping together and malnourishment. There was a real chance that Justin marking Regan might kill Raven. They all saw it when my face went white. It is done. They have been upstairs for almost an hour. I know that he has already marked her as his. This is the worst case possible. Cassandra was walking slowly back toward the vehicle, but Randolph grabbed my wrist and asked, "What did you do to Justin?" I thought that after Raven woke from her fall that Justin was going to reject her. That is what Regan told me. Regan never told me that they hadn't rejected each other. I thought that he just needed a little push. This is all your fault for calling the council on us, Cole. I had to move forward with their pairing. It is too late. Justin will be marking Regan any second if he hasn't already. There is nothing that we can do to stop it, I told them, and Randolph took off towards the pack house. Cole is shaking in anger, and the men with him are just as angry. I motioned for the gate guards to come back to us and then mind-linked in more warriors, as Cole looks like he is ready to kill all of us standing here at the gate. I can see his beta mind linking and then looking over at Cole. Whatever he said got the four men heading back to the SUV to load up. Cole stops and comes back to the gate. Anger is coming out of every pore, but he spoke in a low tone and said, "We will be here at 1030 tomorrow morning if my daughter ever wakes back up. Have Justin at this gate, so they can formally reject each other, or I swear to you that tomorrow morning I will SR the whole Sullivan family. I will see you in the morning, Graham. Oh, and don't try to run away. I already have warriors stationed in place to stop anyone from leaving your pack until we arrive in the morning. Like I said before, Graham, if your actions hurt or kill my daughter, I will make good on what I told you. But I wanted to tell you this, if my daughter dies, yours will too. In just a painful way as mine did. See you in the morning, Graham. You should have thought this out better because your bad choices may end up costing you your life." I stepped back away from the gate and walked stiffly back to my vehicle. I got in and left the area immediately. I have never been so scared in all of my life, not even when I found out that I had stolen Cole's true mate out from under him. We don't speak as we park in front of our pack house. We see Justin coming down the stairwell with his dad assisting him, as soon as we enter the foyer. I see a fresh mark on his shoulder and see Reagan at the top of the stairs in her robe watching Justin leave. She moves the neckline of the robe slightly to show me the mark and her bright smile is clear for everyone to see. She is blissfully happy now, but she seems confused as to why I am not smiling and happy with her. I motion to my office with a jerk of my head and head in there first. I am shaking in fury, and Cassandra is furious as well. Why didn't she tell us that they were still bound, Cassandra? Is she trying to start a war? I thought she wanted to take over this pack. There will be no pack left if they come for us. Cole is pissed, they will kill everyone, and burn the place to the ground. We got a pass before, but Cole is out for blood now. I tell Cassandra as we wait for our daughter to come into the office. I don't know, Graham, she told us both in the link last night that as soon as Raven awoke, that Justin was going to reject her. She never mentioned to me that he didn't. She is smarter than that. She may have been trying to kill Raven by having Justin mark her while they are still bound, Cassandra said, and I turned slowly towards her as I realized that I got played, by my own daughter. Fury rises up in me, and when Reagan finally opens the door to step in, I sat down against the front of my desk with my arms crossed across my chest, to ask her some questions. I make sure to control my breathing and my tone. If I tip my hand, she won't answer truthfully. So you are marked now? Everything went fine? I asked her as if that was the most important thing now. I saw both of their marks. I already knew the answer. If Reagan was smarter, she would have realized that I already knew the answers to these easy questions. Yes, very smooth, his wolf didn't balk at all. In fact, he seemed to think that I was Raven at the time. I had one of her dirty t-shirts from her room on my pillow, so her scent was there, just to push him to mark me. Justin Wolf was glad to mark me. Reagan smiled again and stood up to admire her new mark in the mirror on the far wall. You thought of everything, didn't you, Reagan? You even had me force Justin's hand when you knew he wasn't going to come back, I told her, and she turned around pouting at me. If I didn't, Daddy, he wouldn't have come back. This was your plan, wasn't it? Why wouldn't you help me? Reagan asks me like she was just an innocent young girl, that hadn't done anything wrong. She is indeed my daughter, that is pretty manipulative, and I was impressed. Calling me Daddy to invoke protective feelings for her, was advanced, but my life was on the line now, and I was pissed off. Reagan, you told us last night that you had told Justin to reject Raven when she woke up. She was awake when we got there. Why didn't you tell us that he didn't do it? I asked her, and now she is closing up. She knows that I suspect something, and she doesn't want to talk anymore. Daddy, I did tell him, but he just wouldn't do it. Then she ran off. I didn't think that it was that important. So, I forgot to mention it. I have a lot on my mind. It isn't easy trying to keep Justin under control. Don't forget you started this, Dad. I just went along with it. Don't get mad at me if we hit a little bump in the road, Reagan tells me coldly, and I finally see just how vicious she is. She is trying to put all of this on me, but she planned this part of it out. Yes, I did the contract for her and helped with the plan, but she wanted him and chose him specifically. She wanted to take him from Raven and rub it in Raven's face for the rest of her life. I see where she has been going with this the whole time. I thought you wanted to take over this pack. I thought that was your dream. Have you changed your mind about that? I asked her, and she looked at her mark again, stroking it lovingly. No, I still want it, and I want Justin. My life is perfect now that Raven is gone, Reagan said, and I freeze knowing that she believed that Raven was now dead. She could be, and if she is, we all will be dead. I cannot stop myself from reaching out and slapping Reagan, hard. She fell into her chair and looked at me stunned. I have never hit her, never once in her whole life, and I see where my mistakes were. Mom, he hit me, Reagan said while she holds her cheek with her hand. I see a flash and see that Cassandra had slapped her other cheek. Reagan is crying real tears now, and for the first time, she looks scared. What is going on? Reagan asks while still crying. We had a little visit while you were upstairs forcing your dream man to mark you. Alpha Cole stopped by as apparently Raven passed out at dinner. From the pain of what you were doing to her, I see the flash of a smile before Reagan hit it. Oh, I am glad that you think it is so funny. We are surrounded right now. If anyone attempts to leave the pack, they will be killed. I continued to speak, and she is shocked. She is trying to keep the fear off her face, but I have her complete attention now. He will be back at 1030 in the morning. He wants Justin at the gate to formally reject Raven at that time. You went too far, Reagan. I will never help you again. Cole told me that if Raven dies, you will die, in the morning too. He will also be killing me as well. I can assure you that our deaths will both be bad. You want to play games and think that it is okay to keep at Raven. I already warned you. Justin was her mate, and you took him away. You are the bad guy here. You tried to kill her again, but this time it will come with consequences. Alpha Cole will be here tomorrow. We won't know until that time if he will make good on his promise to end the Sullivan family or not, so your big plan to kill Raven might result in your new mate taking over the pack, and us being killed in the morning, I told her, and her face is now shocked. Dad, we can't just stay here and wait for it. We need to get out of here. What if she dies? He being his mate and him marking me before rejecting her, could really kill her, Reagan said, and I looked at her like she is crazy. Of course it could, I am fully aware of it. Remember, Reagan, we did it, to Alpha Cole, who was your mother's true mate, I told her, and she is finally seeing the big picture. She is scared and wants to try to get out of the pack. I will let you go if you want to, Reagan. But I guarantee you that if they catch you, they will probably kill you. He knows about everything, Reagan. He knows you tried to kill Raven. He will welcome the chance to pay that back. If you want to live, you need to stay in the pack and pray to the goddess that she lives. Otherwise, we will all receive our death sentence at 1030 tomorrow morning. Chapter 17 Raven's POV. I woke up and I see that I am in the pack hospital again. I am hurting, and it is so much worse than if they were just having S*X. I feel like a truck hit me, and Emerald is in a great deal of pain too. I have no idea what happened. One minute we were having a good time at dinner, even with Carter and Joshua there. The next minute I can tell that Justin and Reagan were having s***x. I was bearing an incredible amount of pain, trying not to show how awful I was feeling at the moment. I was praying for them to just be done soon so no one would know that my true mate never wanted me. The fact that I wasn't enough for him still humiliates me. No one wanted me, and it makes me sad. I don't want Carter and Joshua to know about it. I do not completely trust them, and this is embarrassing to me. That was when I felt a burning sensation on my neck, which took the pain I had been feeling to over double what it was. I couldn't hold on anymore and ended up blacking out. It is ridiculous. This is the second time I have been here in a day's time, and haven't even been here for 24 hours yet. This has got to be some sort of a record, and one that I didn't want to have. Emerald, what happened? I asked her through our mind link. Justin has marked Reagan as his mate, Emerald told me quietly, and she is clearly in even more pain than I am about it. I felt my tears start, and I can't keep the sob in. Even if I were going to reject him, just knowing that he was so excited about getting Reagan marked as his mate broke my heart again. He knows that could kill me as we are still bound together. Is my life not valuable to him at all? The fact that he just couldn't wait for us to formally reject each other before he marked her, was really painful. He never cared for me at all, and that hurt me on a completely different level. I am so sorry, Emerald. That is all my fault. I am clearly not worthy of love, and that is why he did it. I am holding you back. He didn't want me. We could both tell how much his wolf wanted you, I told her in Mind Link. Emerald is a strong and beautiful wolf. She is so much better than me. I feel like she was not given the right vessel to carry her now. She deserved someone who is a confident and strong woman for her to be able to truly thrive. No, Raven, the goddess put us together for a reason. You have been held down and prevented from having anything but the basics. You were kept hidden and prevented from being able to train. Trust me, you are exactly who I am destined to be with. We will train, and you will find out quickly, just how strong you are. I am proud of you. Even in your pain from their betrayal, you still stayed strong in your conviction to not accept him after what he did. That is strong. To not listen to the mate bond and go against the feelings that were telling us to forgive and forget, and take him back. No, Raven, we are strong. We will get through this together. I guarantee you that in a month's time, everything will be different for us. I need to rest now. Tomorrow will be a big day for us, and I want to help carry the brunt of this. I tried to keep it off of you, but I couldn't carry all of it. I had no idea that he would mark her before we could reject him. I am sorry that you were so hurt, but tomorrow we will be done with Justin and Reagan, Emerald told me gently. I am so lucky to have her. She really is the best thing that ever happened to me. Raven, are you okay? I heard Stella speak gently to me, and I see that she is sitting at the end of my bed. She is obviously upset for me and looks like she wants to kill whoever did this to me. I am okay. I am sorry, I didn't know that I was going to pass out again. I managed to suffer through them having s**x before and thought I could again. I didn't want to worry anyone, and Alpha Cole was already so mad at what they had done to me when I lived there that I didn't have the heart to tell him the whole story of what was going on. I was scared that he would go over there and start a war with Silver Blade, plus it is a very embarrassing tale for me to tell. I told her. I see both Luna Olivia, and beta female Amanda sitting next to my bed, with concern written all over their faces. It is too late, I already went there. Tomorrow, after we leave here at 10 a.m. We will be making a short stop there at 1030. You will get to formally reject Justin, and I will promise to try not to kill him. He will be accepting your rejection, I can assure you of that. Then we will go out and have a wonderful day, I promise you that. I only have 2 problems with what you just said, Raven. First, you need to start calling me Dad, from now on. Second, you need to always tell me if a problem arises. You did not have to sit there in that kind of pain. I have felt it, it is not for the weak. I never want you to think that you have to do that again. Do not suffer in silence, he marked that girl tonight, and I have also experienced that level of pain for myself. It can and has killed people before. That is what your sister wanted, she wanted the pain of him marking her to kill you. She is a spiteful individual and I swear to the goddess that if it had, I would have killed her over it. Alpha Graham and Luna Cassandra had both been told that you had rejected him during the incident. Reagan is a vicious, spoiled she-wolf and doesn't care about anyone else. Do not worry, I got the point across tonight. They will not be a part of your life anymore, my father told me, and I was stunned. He went there and threatened their pack, for me? No one has ever taken up for me before and my tears started up again. I can see the concern all over his face and on the faces of the men behind him. Clearly, they had all gone there with him, in my defense. I could see why Beta Timothy went, he is the Beta and has defended me since the moment I arrived. But Carter and Joshua going, that was an absolute surprise. Seeing Austin behind them with a big smile on his face to tell me that all was fine, made me smile back at him with the tears blurring my sight. I wanted to stop crying, it was getting out of hand, I have never cried this much. The shame and pain that I felt at Justin not being able to wait to let me know how little he cared, was immense, but the fact that they were to defend me, moved my heart. I could barely get 2 meals a day at Silver Blade, but they risked being hurt or even killed to go and let Silver Blade know that I was not alone anymore and that I was going to be defended. My crying is upsetting my father, who doesn't know what to do, or why I am crying. I see Olivia looking at him like she was trying to tell him something, and then tilting her head to point at me. He still didn't get it and I can see her mind link him before he strode across the room and dropped the bar on the side of my bed to give me a hug. I cannot hold my sobbing back now and before he let me go a few minutes later, I had thoroughly soaked his shirt with my tears. I swear to you, Raven, you do not have to give them a second thought. They cannot hurt you anymore, we won't allow it. Your brothers and I will always keep you safe from harm. Beta Timothy will also protect you, the whole pack will. We will be having a town hall tomorrow night, and you will be formally introduced to them all. I know your last 20 hours have been very overwhelming, but your life has honestly changed for the better. We are all glad that you are here, my dad told me, and everyone in the room nodded in agreement with what he said, even Joshua. That was a surprise, because of all the people in the room, he was the one who had given me the most problems. He seemed just as angry about what happened to me, as my family and his family were. Maybe things really are looking up for me. I am not going to completely drop my caution around him, it will take some time before I actually trust him, and Carter fully. But he went with them, and they all looked like they had wanted to go voluntarily. No matter whether it was to defend Dad, to take up for me, or both, it meant a lot to me. Carter stepped up and squeezed my hand, and I can see his eyes shining. It seems my tears had moved him to tears. I don't know why, but that is a good thing. I squeezed his hand back and that was enough. We spoke without saying a word, and I appreciated his supporting me. Austin stepped up next and he bent over and hugged me tightly. He kissed the top of my head before straightening up, and that made the tears come back to my eyes. They were burning now, and I was really glad that I had two brothers that were going to be there for me. That more importantly wanted to be there for me. That was the very best part. I watched as Dad massaged Luna Olivia's shoulders for her, as he stood behind her chair. She smiled at me and said, "We have always wanted a daughter, but we were never able to have one. I know now why the goddess had already blessed us with you, we just didn't know it yet. I would be glad for you to call me Mom, but on your own time. I don't want to pressure you at all, so if you want to start by calling me Olivia, that is great too. I am really excited about our trip to the mall tomorrow and being able to dress you up and pamper you. It seems like I am more excited than you are about it, but we will try to keep it to 3 hours. Amanda and I started making a list earlier today, so we will work together to get this done as quickly as possible. I am also sending someone out to get you your personal items too. The doctor said that if you felt up to it, that you could come back to the pack house tonight. There is nothing that they can do for you except for the pain management that they have already done. We need to be ready in the dining hall at 9:30 to eat before leaving at 10, so if you want we can start to get you released from here now. I would like to leave, and I would like even more to not have to come back here for a long time," I told them with several heads nodding in agreement. I know that this has been stressful for them, and I appreciated their caring so much about me. They didn't even know me, and yet they have done more for me in less than 20 hours than my family at Silver Blade did for me in 18 years. That shows a distinct difference between them, and Olivia slipped out of the room to go get the paperwork started for me to be released. I was so glad that Emerald and I had felt that pull toward the Bloodwalker pack. I could have run in any direction, as there were no walls on the other borders to our pack, and yet I ran to the one that did. I remembered something and wanted to ask to see why he had built it like that. "Dad, I have a question, why was there just a smaller wall built between our two packs? There is a 10-foot wall all the way around your pack, but for the whole border with Silver Blade, there was just that smaller fence. Did you build the smaller fence so I would be able to get across your border?" I asked him. He beamed at me the moment I called him Dad and reached out to take my hand in his, as he had taken Olivia's seat when she left the room. "No honey, I didn't build that smaller fence, Alpha Graham did. I left that whole expanse open in the hope that you would be able to find your way to my pack. My wolf, Flint, insisted that we had gotten Cassandra pregnant the night we met. That is why I told them to return you to me if she was pregnant. I suspect I know why they didn't, and that was also why you were not allowed to leave the pack. You are clearly my pup, anyone outside of their pack would have picked up on it. Graham had a lot of reasons for doing what he did, none of them right, but they were his reasons. He put that fence up as he was trying to show the pack that we were a danger to them. That roll of barbed wire on top of the fence is designed to cut the belly of any wolf that tried to make that jump over the fence. You sailed over it with room to spare, is what I was told. That shows me that even without training, you and your wolf are very strong, my dad told me, and that made sense. It did look dangerous, and I was scared to do it, but Emerald knew we needed to come here, she may have had a vision about that too. Emerald knew that I needed to come here. She told me that we needed to make some big decisions, but that I had to be the one who made them. That she couldn't tell me what we needed to do. Once I made the decision to leave, I guess she knew exactly where we needed to go. She gets visions, and she knows things, but she doesn't always tell me about them. She said that right now, I need to make the decisions without her input. She has kept me safer since I got her on my birthday. People used to catch me or try to trap me to hurt me, and she would know about it, and keep me from going near them. It frustrated them, but it was funny to us. Once I saw my sister and Justin together, I was not going to stay there and let them force me to suffer with them rubbing it in my face that I was so unwanted that he was good with rejecting his true mate. I told them, and the room was silent for a minute. I can tell you that when something like this happens, although painful at the moment, the goddess has a better plan for you. I experienced this myself, honey. The goddess gave me Olivia, and I love her even more than the original true mate that I was given. I think that the goddess saved me from getting a weak and power-driven person for a Luna. I know that right now you are hurting very badly, but I know how much the goddess loves you. She is going to give you someone who will love and cherish you, just like you have always dreamed of. Mark my words. I already know that she has plans in place for you, and a strong man in mind to protect you. I look forward to getting to meet them. That is one of the many reasons for this party. I want the whole world to know that you are my daughter and that you have a family that is proud of you. I also want to give you the opportunity of you being able to find your second chance mate. I found Olivia at the next ball that I attended. The goddess blessed us both and made it so we found each other quickly. I think that she is going to do the same thing for you, my dad told me, and I pray that he is right. We are going to have such a great time trying on evening gowns, Raven. I have a few ideas of what I would like to see you in, Olivia said as she crossed the room. I can see the smile she is giving Dad, and that tells me she heard what he had said to me. The difference in love between my dad and Olivia, versus Alpha Graham and Luna Cassandra, is staggering. Dad doesn't have to play true mates because they are true mates. After seeing the interaction between them, I don't know how Silverblade really thinks that their alpha couple could be. They are not easy and loving, it is clearly staged, and not as natural between them. You know what, it doesn't matter anymore. I am actually looking forward to getting my freedom, training, and learning things that I am interested in, not just from books, but in real life. There are so many opportunities for me now, and I am looking forward to grasping it all. I have clearly leveled up and my future is brighter than it has ever been before. Chapter 18 Carter's POV. I have been nervous all morning, and couldn't shake off the feeling that something bad was going to happen today. I had promised Raven yesterday, but even if I hadn't, after Raven's true mate's actions, I was going today to make totally sure that everything went smoothly at Silverblade today. We were even riding as a family in the SUV. A warrior was driving, Dad was up front, Mom and I were in the middle, and Austin and Raven we in the back row. It made me a little jealous of how tight they already were. Austin is really sensitive to others, and their feelings, almost like an empathy. He is a great judge of character, and he has never been wrong about any of his feelings toward another person. If I had been thinking clearly, I would have asked him when we met Raven and kept from embarrassing myself in front of her, and my parents. I ended up looking like a jerk, but I will make sure that I make up for it for the rest of my life. Raven never judged me, she didn't get angry at me, but she is cautious around me, and that was all on me and Joshua. If I weren't almost out of my mind in fear and anger at someone trying to take my spot away from me, I would have noticed that yesterday Austin was immediately loving and accepting of our new sister. I allowed my own feeling to block what I now remember as an almost instant bond between them. He was on board the minute he met her. I am kicking myself for not seeing it now. It would have saved her and me some suffering. We deserved the dressing down that we got yesterday from our dads. We had both messed up big time, and now we have to fix it. I feel terrible about how we treated her, she needed kindness and security, and we gave her stress and anxiety. That was another lesson, I should have seen it, and I didn't. Dad and Beta Timothy both told me how I missed what was in my face. That is the next alpha. I have to put my emotions aside and focus on the issue at hand. It was a teachable moment and another that Joshua and I needed. My wolf, Titan, is still angry about what happened to Raven last night. Mates are really important to our family, and what had happened to Dad and Mom was the reason for it. That is not the first time that I had heard the story, but it was the first time where I realized that a child had resulted from what had happened. It wasn't Raven's fault at all, it was her money-grubbing mother's fault. Yet they had taken it out on her because they could, for her whole life, even as a child. It made me sick, and I was 100% with Dad to go straighten them out. I have not had any interaction with them, because of what Graham and Cassandra did. If Silver Blade was coming to training or an event, it was just Dad and Beta Timothy that went. I had no interest in interacting with them, nothing that I have heard about that pack has ever interested me. Joshua came too. He feels terrible because he got that ball rolling, and made a bad situation worse. He acted like she had come here announcing that she was the heir to the pack, but she didn't, she was just running away from Silver Blade. It was just him freaking out that she looked so much like Dad and me. He knew from the first time he saw her that she belonged to our family. He also knew that she was technically the oldest, and so he wanted to get rid of her before anyone else figured it out too. He never realized that his dad already knew exactly who she was, as he has been in from the beginning on what had happened, and that a pup might have occurred from their mating. We are almost there, and I swear if this guy doesn't accept her rejection, we will declare war on Silver Blade, with or without the council's blessing. It was hard to hear the emotions in Dad's voice last night. Then to fully realize what had happened, and if Raven had died, then the only interaction that she would have had with me before she died, would have been a bad experience. That scared me to my core. I took pride in being the big brother. I protected Austin when we were little because I loved him so much, and didn't want him to get hurt. The fact that I didn't immediately love her, was purely out of fear. It hit me that as mad as I was at Luna Cassandra, I had done the same thing she did, made a judgment just to get gain from it. No wonder Dad had been clearly disappointed in me. I have already decided that I will be the best big brother that she could ever have. Even though I am technically 2 months younger than her, I am the next alpha, and at 6'4" tall, I am a pretty big guy. I will show her that I am here to protect her, for the rest of her life if she needs me to. I am going to erase the bad start that we had, and I had already spoken to Austin. We will both be escorting her to the ball that night. She was trying to hide her fear, she doesn't like to have a lot of attention on herself. Having me and Austin there with her will help calm her anxiety that night. By the time the ball rolls around, I will have shown her clearly that I do love and care for her. She will have no more doubts about me ever again. If she wants to live here the rest of her life to feel safe, I will gladly do that too. Whatever it takes, is what I am willing to do. At 1025, we pulled up to Silver Blade, and no one is at the gate yet, but it is still early. We exited our vehicle, but Austin and Raven stayed seated in the last row. I could feel that she was stressed out. I sat in front of her, and Austin sat next to her so she could know that we were there to support her. I turned to see the second SUV pull up and they all got out. A warrior was driving, and Beta Timothy was in the front seat next to him. Amanda, Joshua, and Stella had been in the middle row. Mom and Amanda had decided to take the back row out of the SUV, as it looked like some major shopping was going to be done today. I am going to hold my parents to the 3-hour time frame. Shopping is exhausting. It will be another first for Raven. I could hear Austin speaking to her calmly and softly when we left the pack, and I looked back to see her eyes closed and him holding her hand. I linked him, "What are you doing?" This is her first time riding in a vehicle, she is already anxious about the rejection, but this isn't helping, Austin told me. I have never heard of that, but I guess it made sense. If you rode in a car from childhood on, it wouldn't bother you at all. I am sure the speed of it was messing with her head. I was glad to see that she calmed down pretty quickly, and finally opened her eyes and was now watching the scenery pass. She was back to anxious when we got here, but we are going to get this over with quickly, and then be done with them forever. From what I have learned about them, I am glad we don't have a treaty or anything to connect us with them. They are a weak pack, and now I know why. They are all about appearances but don't put the hard work in to be a strong pack. We will never have a treaty with them, as long as I live either. I can't allow us to be connected in any way after what they did to my sister. We all heard an engine coming, so we turned to look back at the gate, and see an SUV coming down the hill toward us. I see all 3 gate guards getting a mind link and they left heading to the pack house. We watched the SUV park, and they slowly started to get out. I could see that they were all anxious. They don't see Raven yet as she was still in the SUV, and there had been a 50/50th chance that she did die, like her piece of ST sister wanted her to. From this day forward her sister is nothing to her, her mom as well. We are her family now, and she doesn't need them, any of them, anymore. A total of 5 exited the vehicle: Alpha Graham, Luna Cassandra, his beta that had been here with him last night. I see a guy around my age and a girl around my age all step up to the gate. I remember that it was the beta's son who was the one that had been mated to my sister, and he was a big guy, but I can take him. Austin could take him, and Austin hates to fight, but I can feel his anger right now, and he would engage today if we needed him to, and I was proud of him. Even though Raven hasn't officially been made a member of the pack, she will be tonight. I can feel her emotions though, she is my sister. The second I accepted that and stopped trying to resist, our bond had gotten so strong, in just 1 day's time. She is terrified, and as I stepped to go get her from the SUV to escort her to the gate, my dad ended up beating me to it. I can hear him murmuring to her, to calm her. He knows exactly how this felt. He had to come here and done this very same thing over 18 years ago with Beta Timothy, and the anger in me rose. These people have done enough to our family. I motioned to Mom for her, Amanda, and Stella to stay back as Joshua and I approached the gate with Timothy to show them that we are a united front. I caught a scent and glanced over to see Reagan staring at me. She is stunned and embarrassed and quickly looked away. I will let Raven go first, and then I will finish this with them. I heard slow steps approaching behind Up, and Dad and Austin each have one of Raven's hands in their own. I heard a growl on the other side of the gate and see her true mate looking furious at Austin holding her hand. I smirked. I got Dad's coloring, the same as Raven, but although Austin had Dad's hair color, he has Mom's eye color. People don't know that we are brothers at first until we are side by side, and almost look like twins. He is a little over 17.5 years old. He is about 6 months younger than me. My birthday was at the beginning of June, and his is at the end of November. Austin is a big guy too, he is just an inch shorter than me, and almost as imposing. Since Austin was looking down at Raven as they approached, they thought that she had found someone else. I almost laughed at how stupid that was on his part. She was still bound to that IT, and couldn't find her second chance mate yet, but she can after we get this done. I will make sure that she gets a good mate. I think that Goddess will be blessing her for all she had to go through her at Silver Blade. Calm down, pup. We are here because of the bad decisions that you made. That is her brother, you can put the jealousy up now. You betrayed her in the worst way, don't pretend to want her now, my dad told him in a cold tone. I did make the deal, and I did make a huge mistake. But I changed my mind, I didn't want to be Reagan's chosen mate. I had decided before Raven took off, that I was going to take her and leave the pack. She could not stay here, Reagan would have killed her in jealousy, the guy fired back, and if that were true, I felt bad for him. He had lost her because he made a bad choice, and now he is bound to her for the rest of their miserable lives. It is too late now, you marked her. She is your chosen mate. The goddess doesn't bless those that chose to disregard her wishes. We are only here for the rejection to be done. She is still bound and will continue to be punished until you release her, or she dies. Although Reagan tried a second time, Raven is clearly still here. I am glad that you brought Reagan down here this morning to hear it from my own lips. You need to stay away from my daughter. If you try to hurt her again, I will kill your family, and then you. I see who you are, you really only care for yourself, and being a Luna. You two are going to destroy this already weak pack. Just keep that in mind, Bloodwalker could take this pack over in one day. So you need to think very hard before you make any more bad decisions. I can see the jealousy in your eyes, Reagan. He was her mate and you were too scared to send him down here to do the rejection on his own. You needed to pay more attention in school, pup. You are about as bright as your mother is, Dad said, and gasps at the insult to Luna. Cassandra rang out on the other side of the fence. I don't understand why they would be mad at hearing the truth. I see their beta having to cover his lips to cover the smile on his face at what Dad just said. I could tell last night that there had been a problem between him and the Alpha. We could see that he was furious with Alpha Graham, but we didn't know why. I can see that Reagan dressed to show off her mark as best she could to piss Raven off, and that made me mad. She is a real piece of work, and I felt even worse for him, but his decisions had saved me, so I owe him one. I am sorry, Raven. I left yesterday and ran away. I had changed my mind and wasn't going to go through with the contract anymore, but Alpha Graham threatened to banish my family and make sure that they were rogues for the rest of their lives. I had to come back. I made a bad choice, and I was going to live with it, but I wasn't going to sleep with Reagan again. Her actions sickened me with what she was willing to do to you. It finally showed her true character. When I came back by the deadline he gave, I had dinner with your parents and Reagan. She drugged me to get me to mark her. We didn't want to do it, but we were out of our mind, and she smelled like you to get my wolf to go along with it. I will never forgive her for tricking me, and I pray that the goddess gives us both what we deserve. Her mate called out to her, and I felt bad for him. He got played, and now his life is ruined, all because Reagan wanted to hurt her own sister. That kind of sucked for him. You made your decision, Justin. She didn't force you. You wanted to sleep with her, so you did. I am over it. You forget I was there and heard your pillow talk after the first round. You saw what I was dealing with in the pack, and you were too weak to go against them. You made the decision to allow me to continue to suffer even more with the continued abuse, and you not wanting me as your mate. There was nothing wrong with me, only the lies that they told to make the pack hate me. Why? Because they care more about appearances and power than their own mate. You did the same thing, so don't play the victim now. Your actions have hurt me enough. We are done, please don't bother me again, because this is it. You two belong to each other now. I am done with you both. I, Raven Dominique Sullivan, of the Silver Blade Pack, reject you. Justin Michael Evans, future Alpha of the Silver Blade Pack. May the goddess give you both what you truly deserve. We all watch as he hits his knees. He is in obvious pain from her rejection. He is clutching at his chest and panting. Reagan stepped forward and tried to help him up, and he shoved her away. Don't touch me, this is what you wanted after all, isn't it? I told you I wanted out of the contract. I told you that I loved Raven, and didn't want to be with you anymore. Things are not going to be like you thought they would. You can hang that up now, Regan. You ruined my life, so I am going to ruin yours, he told her, and she gasped in surprise at his words, like she can't believe what he is saying to her. He clearly hates her, and I hope that he spends the rest of his life reminding her every day that she brought all this on herself, in her attempt to try to hurt Raven. His father assists him up to stand, and he is leaning on his dad, and had a hand on the gate to hold himself steady. Losing Raven hurt him, badly, and again I felt a little bad for him before I remember that he literally signed up for this. Justin Michael Evans, future alpha of the Silver Blade Pack, accept your rejection, Raven. Dominique Sullivan. Justin manages to get out, and he looks at Raven with tears in his eyes. His heart was clearly broken by this, but he is in a lot more pain than my sister is. She is just looking at Justin with disgust all over her face. I am glad that she is not in pain. Dad had told Raven that since she isn't a member of our pack officially yet, to use her former pack in her rejection, as that was her current pack. He also told her that she needed to use her current name in it, even though he is about to have it legally changed to our last name. I am proud of my sister and gave her a smile. Our group turns to leave, and I called out, "Wait a minute. There is something that I need to say too." Carter Matthew Walker, future alpha of the Blood Walker Pack, reject you, Regan Sullivan, future Luna of the Silver Blade Pack, as my mate and Luna. I will not accept someone who hurt my sister as a mate. You are clearly an evil she-wolf, and I am very glad that your actions kept me from getting such a mate as you. I wish you the life that you have earned for yourself. Justin, I am actually very sorry that one rush decision ended up ruining your life. But I am very glad that I won't have the unfortunate chore of Regan being permanently by my side. I was looking right at Regan as I spoke. I see her parents, and Justin turn and stare at her in shock, as she has not mentioned anything since she arrived at the gate. I saw her glance over in surprise at me when she first caught my scent. Her scent was faint since she had been marked, but I did pay attention in school, and I knew what I needed to do. I'd seen how nervous she was about it, with her eyes shifting all around, and I knew that she was trying to figure out a way to get away from the gate and leave. She didn't want me to tell everyone that we had been mates, but I was not going to leave here today without getting my rejection. I refused to be bound to her in even the slightest way. I wasn't going to let her take 2 steps before I rejected her. My dad steps forward and puts his hand on my shoulder in support, and a few seconds later I feel a small hand slide into mine as my sister stands there with me too. Austin puts his hand on my other shoulder, and I am glad that they are here with me. I feel undeserving of Raven's love and support, as I was not a good brother to her right off the bat, yet here she stands trying to help me through the pain of rejection. I didn't feel the betrayal pains, as I had not scented her yet, but this still hurt me. I was in pain, but I needed to get her rejection over and done with, so I can get my second chance mate. She will not take that from me. Accept it now, Regan. I promise you we will not leave Silver Blade without it. Graham, you better make her accept it. She caused all of this, including forcing that young man to mark her. She chose her path. There is no need for her to not accept my son's rejection, I heard my dad call out to them. His tone was so cold, that there should be snow on the ground around us. He is furious, and he is serious. We won't be leaving, in fact, we will be inviting 100 warriors to join us at the gate if they don't accept it soon. Graham walked over to Regan, and after a short discussion, and a small argument by Regan, we watched Regan take a step forward and called out, "I, Regan Sullivan, future Luna of the Silver Blade Pack, accept your rejection, Carter Matthew Walker, future Alpha of the Blood Walker Pack." Regan hits the ground, holding her chest right over her heart. I am glad that she felt the pain of it. All her plans to hurt my sister, and now my strong sister is already standing here calm and happy, after her rejection. I am so proud of her. All I feel is relief, as if a weight has been lifted off of me. I am even more glad that I came now, as I would probably not have met my second chance mate until I got this cleared up. My mother is in tears as we walked up to the SUV. She is upset for both of us, but I only feel satisfied as I am not bound to someone so clearly vicious as Reagan is. Reagan is still on the ground, and she is glaring at Raven. I guess she is so used to it, that she is going to blame this on her as well. Reagan is clearly delusional. She wanted to take Justin away from Raven, and she got him. What is there to be pissed off about now? Or if you want to pay for more such audiobooks, you can send us a request in a private Facebook group, or join us on WhatsApp. A link is given in the video description. The rest of the audiobooks will be uploaded in the next episode. Join us on Patreon to listen to more unlimited audiobooks.